Hi guys, this is Krivli again with another pen review, and today we have something fairly interesting right here that I have been sent from Joost at appelboompennen.com in the Netherlands. Go check them out, and thanks so much Joost for sending this pen for review. What we have laying right here is the Omas Bologna Galassia. Now, as an introduction, Omas is a brand that has been around since 1925, been founded by Armando Simoni in Bologna. Back then, you can Google that and you will find plenty of writing and content around the history of Omas. It was a brand that has been loved by fountain pen aficionados across the world, especially for their beautiful materials. This here is like Italian cellulose acetate. And then the company has gone out of business for a variety of reasons and has been revived not that long time ago and now makes pens again. Uses a lot of the old stock resins and materials to turn the pens, and the nibs, and I'm going to show that to you of course in a bit, are made by Omas to date. So this is, as said, the Omas Bologna in the Galassia finish. Galassia being Italian and meaning, as you can see right here on the packaging, galaxy. So the pen does have nebula inspired colors in black, brown and white tones and so forth. The pen is also available in a bunch of other colors such as grigio, smeraldo, azzurro, which is then, green, gray, blue and so forth. And we'll get into all of that in a second. The packaging, Omas, as said, the Galassia has a design of a galaxy, reminiscent of a galaxy. Bologna Galassia, we have it with a black trim and a 14K gold nib in fine. This is a black trim and it has a black nib. The pen is also available with silver trim and with gold trim, and that holds true for all the other color configurations as well. Azzurro, Smeraldo, Grigio. Each of those is available in three trim finishes, so to say, black, silver and gold. And across all three configurations, each color is has a limited edition of 300 pens worldwide. So meaning this pen, there's probably 100 of them with a black finish, 100 with a silver finish and 100 with the gold finish. Slide that out. Neutral white packaging, very nice vintagey appearance to it. Beautiful, definitely looks like something that could be from the 50s and 60s. Sent by Appelboom, as said, once more, thanks a lot for that. And product information card. It's basically, filling instructions in different languages. 1925, Omas. That's that. All right, let's pack that away and look at the pen. There we have it, the Omas Bologna Galassia in the nebula finish. It's like a more or less cylindrically shaped pen. You have a cap. It's not exactly cylindrically shaped because, as you can see right here, it has a little bit of like an hourglass shape, little bit taper here, little bit thicker here and a little bit taper there. But let's cover it from top to bottom. A pointed domey cap. Then you have the finial, so to say. Then you have the cap right here saying Omas Italy. That's laser engraved or etched in, so to say. Then you have these this clip with a little wheel on. You can spin that wheel. It's a very functional clip. Very easy to slide that one into a shirt pocket or into a pen pouch. This wheel here is like very characteristic for a lot of the Italian pens. You have then Omas Bologna right here and some pattern work and two center band rings. Now I have to say the finishing of that pen is from a crafts perspective, so and so. It's very beautiful pen. It's fantastic, very deep colored material. This Italian cellulose acetate, as you can see right here in the light, is gorgeous. Those rings here don't sit perfectly flush. And you can see it right here that my fingernail does catch on them. A little bit more here, and then here my fingernail slides over. So it's not extremely pronounced, but when you do this, so it's right here where it doesn't sit entirely flush, you can feel it. Now that's perhaps more something for like people with a little bit of like OCD tendencies, like myself, but it's noticeable, and it's a little bit annoying on a beautiful pen like this that costs 400 euro, 4,000 Swedish crowns, I wanted to say, because I sit in Sweden, about 400 euro it is. So yeah, the finishing of the material is extremely beautiful, very solid quality, lays very nice in hand, feels great, but like, yeah, those rings, they are not exactly flush. We have like a band right here, and then as we can see a little bit through the material right here, this is the piston turning knob, because this is a piston filling fountain pen, which is very, very nice. And then you have like a similar end pointy domey thing as you have right here. It's a screw-on cap. The cap comes out off with about 1.5 turns of the cap, which is fantastic because it makes it for a very nice and quick note taker. As you can see right here, the slight hourglass shape of the pen that I talked about before. Nice threading, not sharp at all. And then you have like a section that is relatively short, but you know, very reminiscent of the section proportions of the Pelikan Souverain fountain pens. Very nice and comfortable to hold, does flare out ever so slightly here at the bottom, and does an excellent job from preventing your fingers to slide onto this beautiful, gorgeous, original Omas manufactured number 6 14K gold nib, 585 for the gold content right here, 585 and 14K, and does also say Omas in this beautiful lettering. Very beautiful patterning work on this gorgeous number 6 nib. Very beautiful, this ebonite feed as well, which gives it a fantastically flush looking shape. I like that a lot. Very, very, very nice. And as said, it's a piston filling fountain pen. I don't know if you can see it right here, but the material is sort of semi-translucent, which means when you hold it up against the light, you will very easily be able to judge the ink level and the ink that is left in the reservoir. Size-wise, this lays very, very nicely in my not very tiny hands. Very comfortable pen, very balanced. I would say it's a little bit back heavy. So if you have small hands and you would hold the pen like this, it could get even more back heavy. In my fairly large hands, where the heavy part of the pen rests here, I would assume that it's the piston mechanic that is a little bit on the heavy side. It's very comfortable, but I can feel that this pen is more back heavy than other pens. Posting wise, pen posts, not very deep, but it does post. Yeah, still quite comfortable and balanced in hand. Doesn't get more top heavy than it's already been. It's not too bad, but it's noticeable that like the heft of the pen does lay here in the last third of the pen body, so to say. You can screw the cap back on, and there's like a second little thingy, craft, you know, craft fault or whatever you want to call it, that I want to point out, and it's that I do get the occasional cross threading, especially when I'm not super careful and I just like want to scroll the cap on fairly quickly. You know, every 8th or 9th or 10th time or so, I do get a little bit of cross threading. So apart from this otherwise being like a very beautiful and very wonderful pen, these rings not sitting completely flush and the cross threading, as said, is something that, you know, a pen with that type of heritage and history and that price level, something is that maybe a little bit unnecessary, but it does not in no way, you know, hamper the functional qualities of that pen and so forth. One thing that I want to point out is that this pen is very reminiscent in design of the Leonardo Momento Zero. Here I have the Grande in the sand finish. Now, I would assume, of course, that like the Bologna Galassia, as said, is a post-war design from the 1930s. And now, of course, like the modern version of that, but so that design is from the 1930s, so almost like 100 years old. Leonardo is, of course, like a younger company, so like this design came first. I think that's fair to assume. But just wanted to point out, you know, if you're in the market for such a design, Italian pen, then there's also these Leonardo pens, very beautiful resins as well, you know, same type of like form language if you compare the clips and wheel, and if you compare, you know, just like overall the pen, the proportions, and even the nib. This is now a elastic nib, a flex nib, you know, you see like a similar, very similar feed design. Just wanted to show that to you. This pen is a little bit more affordable. I think it costs around 250, 260 euro, while this costs 400 euro. This, of course, as said, is like limited to 300 pens per pen color across the 3 trim finish configurations worldwide. Size comparison to my standard size reference pen, Lamy Safari. Fair to say that the Bologna Galassia here is maybe a couple of millimeters longer, uncapped. A little bit of ink here on the table. That's the visual that we get. I think it's fair to say that they're like fairly similar in size. But of course you see that this number 6 size nib right here is quite a dagger. Very nice. Let us now do a writing sample. I'll do that in this Oxford little journal here. Zoom in ever so slightly. I must say already that like the writing experience with this nib is fantastic, very beautiful. This pen does, or this nib rather, does have ever so slightly feedback. It's a bit feedbacky, but in a very nice way. Thinking of Italian pens, it reminds me a lot of the Aurora pens, the Aurora 88, for instance. And if I'm thinking about Japanese pens, then the behavior of the nib reminds me a lot of sailor pens, for instance. Here we go with the Omas Bologna Galassia. With a black trim. It's quite a gusher, very nice and wet writing experience. So this ebonite feed does an excellent job in transporting ink from the ink chamber, from the piston barrel, all the way straight down to the nib. Wonderful writing experience. As said, a very, very wet writer. This paper here, you can perhaps compare it a little bit without making this into paper science to Rhodia paper. So just so you get a little bit of an idea what kind of paper I'm writing right here. And the nib has like a very nice bounce to it, as you can see. There's quite a bit of line variation that you can squeeze out of that nib. Of course, it's not the flex nib, so I wouldn't overdo that, but I guess you do get the picture. As said, really great writing experience, lays beautiful in hand, fantastic pen, beautiful finish, wonderful nib to write with, really a great pen overall. Hey, that was that with the review of this Omas Bologna Galassia fountain pen. Thanks again to Joost at appelboompennen.com in the Netherlands for sending me this pen for review. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you at the next review. Ciao, ciao.